The Defective Knight. Hey everyone, Templar74 here with another video, and today's video is going to be my review on the latest episode of Sword Art Online, Alicization War of Underworld, Episode 7, Stigma of the Disqualified. And I gotta be honest with you guys, this episode overall, I really enjoyed the episode because while there wasn't a lot in the episode, we got more of the backstory of Renly there, and I love how the anime adapted it from the light novel. It was really well done in my opinion, and yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. So at risk of further rambling, let's actually talk about the episode. So the episode begins with our Integrity Knight trainees, the sisters, battling goblins in the supply core area while looking for Renly. And it turns out that Renly is doing exactly what they thought he was doing, cowering and hiding, and they even go so far as to say that coward. And then there's Tisarione, and they're trying to hide Kirito in the supply tent, and as they're rolling Kirito in there, they're shocked to find Renly there. And Renly even says to them, I am not a knight, I am a defective knight. And we get a little bit of Renly's backstory there. And even Queenella and Chidilkin called him defective, a broken knight. And Queenella actually put him to sleep because he was seen as a failure of a knight. Because although he showed promise, he never mastered the perfect weapon control art. So therefore Queenella and Chidilkin thought he was a failure and put him to sleep. And as Renly is telling Tisarione this, the goblins, of course, appear. They cut through that tent, and they're going after Tisarione, and of course, they're saying to the goblin, they're terrified. They're like, stay back or we'll slash you. And Renly is kind of pausing there. He's kind of shaken up. He's in fear. He doesn't know what to do. And that's when he sees Kirito reach for his swords or try to move, and Renly, seeing this, is taken aback. He's like, even though you can't walk, you can't talk, you can't move, you're still going to try to defend these girls. And it breaks Renly out of it, and Renly decides to take it upon himself. He reaches for his blades, his dual wing blades, and he slices that goblin's head clean off. And once that goblin is defeated, Renly decides that he needs to go back to the front lines. He knows what he needs to do. He needs to go and get back in this fight. He cannot just cower. And Renly takes off. He leaves Tisarione there with Kirito, and he goes after the goblins. And he actually charges into this battle, and the goblins, he's taking them out one after another, and the Flatland Goblin Chief shows up, and he ends up going into battle with Renly, and Renly is still unable to stop him, and that's when this goblin tells him, you know, a regular Integrity Knight should be a match for 1,000. But you are different. And he's actually taunting Renly, saying, you're not really an Integrity Knight, you're just essentially a poser. And that's when Renly gets really angry, his sense of justice kicks in, and he's able to master his weapon, and he's able to defeat the Flatland Goblin Chief. And it's at this time the Integrity Knight trainee sisters show up, and they're basically congratulating Renly that he's overcome this huge barrier, and Renly basically gives them their order to go back and return to the fight much as he has. And during this whole thing, though, it cannot be understated, Renly's backstory, because we get a little bit into that, and we learn through Renly's backstory that when he was a regular human, he had a best friend, and they were fighting it with swords. They were fighting in Swordcraft Academy. They were fighting one another, and during the battle, his friend's sword broke that Renly was fighting, and when that sword broke, Renly accidentally took out his friend. He killed his friend, and his friend's dying wish was that Renly would become the best knight ever, and that's ultimately the memory that allows this perfect weapon control art of Renly's to appear, and he's finally able to master his winged blades and take out the Goblin Chief. So again, that was a nice touch as well. Well handled from the light novel, in my opinion. I really did enjoy that. So now that Renly is done, and Renly's returning to the fight, as well as the two Integrity Knight trainees, we're going back to the war, and the secondary lines of the Dark Territory forces, where the Dark Mage Guild and Ogres are getting ready to launch their attack. They're getting ready to go in after the goblins are getting destroyed by the Integrity Knights, and that's when the leader of the Dark Mage Guild decides, we need to take out the Integrity Knights, otherwise this battle is going to drag on. They're still confident they're going to win, but the Integrity Knights definitely need to be taken out of the picture, and that's when they realize there's only 5 Integrity Knights right now on this battlefield because they are ignorant of Alice, Renly, the Integrity Knight sisters. All they're seeing on this battlefield right now is Eldri, Fanatio, Desolbert, Bracoli, and the other Integrity Knight. They're not seeing that Alice is up in the air. They're not seeing Renly and the Integrity Knight trainees that are gone. These are the only 5 knights they're seeing. They need to wipe them out. So the Dark Mage Chancellor, DI, decides that she is going to launch all of the hatched minions at the Integrity Knights to go after them, while the Ogres fire their arrows into the Human Guardian army to ultimately break through. And once these minions start flying over the Human Guardian army, Bracoli manages to wipe them all out with his perfect weapon control art in one strike. So all 700 of these minions from the Dark Territory are destroyed. And this infuriates DI. She did not see that coming. She doesn't understand how this can happen. And as the Dark Mage Guild is going in to attack, they're also realizing that something is wrong when they're trying to create their burst projectiles there, their flame projectiles with their elements, and nothing's happening. They're unable to form these elements, and that's of course because Alice is absorbing all of the life energy and all of the spatial resources coming out of this battlefield. Of course, they're unaware of that, and they even contemplate, could this be possible? And DI's like, don't be absurd, that's impossible. There's no way somebody's absorbing all of these resources. Of course, we move up to a torn Alice up in the air because Alice is watching this battle unfold and she's boggled. Her mind is racing as to why all of these people, let's just put it that way, all of these people, whether they're Dark Territory forces or they're the Human Empire army, how they're able to have the same pure soul. And as Alice is contemplating this, she's wondering just why are they fighting in the first place. And as this is going on, Alice raises her sword and she launches this colossal attack at the second wave of the Dark Territory army with all these spatial resources that she's absorbed, and it mows down the second wave of the Dark Territory army. And I mean, this was just hardcore. Alice literally just mowed down a quarter of the army by herself, and it's just amazing, you know, that whole animation with Alice there and Alice contemplating just what is it we're fighting, why are we fighting. And at the very beginning, she says something when she says, as long as Kirito's okay, she shakes that feeling and she's like, no, as somebody that raised their sword in defiance of the Axiom Church, this is her duty. So again, Alice is still thinking about Kirito and what Kirito has done and what would Kirito do. So yeah, another conflicted moment here from our little Priestess of Light, and it's very interesting how Alice's character is being handled and how she's able to be serious in this battle while at the same time all of these unanswered questions in the back of her head and all these thoughts in the back of her head and her desire to get answers to them, and knowing that the only way that her questions are ever going to be answered and she's going to get some closure is if this battle is over and this battle is won. So yeah, very interesting that Alice's character can handle this, and how it's being done is really good in my opinion. But back to the episode overall though, before I get sidetracked and before a risk of spoiler alert, overall this episode, I really enjoyed it. I really did. I really enjoyed how Renly was handled. I thought this was a good adaptation from the light novel. And yeah, the battle is really taking a turn here, everybody. And overall, as an episode, I give this episode a 9 out of 10. It was a good episode, in my opinion, and a good build-up for what's to come. But as always, in the comments section down below, let me know what your guys' thoughts were about this week's episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just there? What were your thoughts? Just let me know in the comments section down below, because as always, I enjoy hearing from you. Alright everyone, as always, Templar74 signing off. Have a great day everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye everybody.